You know that feeling. Someone you love is laughing a little too long at someone else's joke, standing a little too close, and suddenly there's this hot, sick, twisting thing in your chest that you did not invite and cannot turn off. Jealousy. And here's the thing nobody tells you about it. That feeling isn't really about love. It's an alarm. One of the oldest, crudest, most stubborn alarms in the entire human mind. Brain scans show that jealousy lights up the same regions tied to physical pain and threat detection. Your body reacts to it like genuine danger. Racing heart, churning stomach, the works. Because for your ancestors, it was danger. Jealousy wasn't designed to make you miserable on a Saturday night. It was designed to keep you alive and keep your family from falling apart in a world where losing a partner could mean losing everything. So why does it feel so completely overwhelming? And what is it actually trying to tell you? Let's get into it. First, you have to stop thinking of jealousy as some personal character flaw and start seeing it for what it actually is. A tool. Evolutionary psychologists have a clinical name for it, an evolved adaptation, which is a fancy way of saying it's not random and it's not a bug. It's a built-in emotional program carved into us over hundreds of thousands of years that switches on the moment a relationship you depend on looks like it's under threat. And to get why evolution bothered, you have to think about what was actually on the line for our ancestors. A committed partner meant shared food, shared protection, a dramatically better chance your kids would survive to grow up. Losing that partner to a rival wasn't a sad breakup you'd journal about later. It could mean the collapse of the entire support system keeping you and your children alive. So evolution did what evolution always does. It took that threat and bolted a powerful, deeply unpleasant, impossible to ignore emotion onto it to make absolutely sure you noticed and did something. That emotion was jealousy. It made our ancestors guard their bonds and chase off rivals. The people who felt the right amount of it protected their relationships and passed on their genes. So yeah, the feeling you hate is one of the reasons you're here at all. Awkward, but true. Now here's one of the most famous and most argued about findings in all of psychology. Back in 1992, a psychologist named David Buss ran a study where he asked men and women a deceptively simple question. What would mess you up more? Your partner having a one-night purely physical thing with someone else, or your partner falling deeply emotionally in love with someone else? On average, the answers split along a pretty clear line. More men said the physical betrayal was the gut punch. More women said the emotional one cut deeper. And Buss didn't just take their word for it, he wired people up and measured their heart rate and stress responses while they imagined each scenario. The bodies matched the answers. People weren't just saying it, they were feeling it. Why would that difference even exist? The theory goes like this. For ancestral men, there was one risk women never had to deal with. You could never be 100% sure a child was biologically yours. Physical infidelity threatened that directly. For ancestral women, the bigger danger wasn't a single encounter. It was losing a partner's commitment, his resources, his presence to another woman. And emotional infidelity is the flashing warning light for exactly that. Now, big caveat, because this gets twisted online constantly. This is an average across thousands of people. Not a rule about you. Both men and women feel both kinds of jealousy, and the finding is still debated by serious researchers. But the pattern shows up across a lot of cultures, which tells us it's probably pointing at something real and deep. Okay, but here's where modern life turns the whole thing into a nightmare. Because your jealousy alarm was calibrated for a tiny ancient world, a world of maybe a few dozen people where a rival was a specific person you could see, standing across the fire in the flesh. Now look at the world your ancient alarm is actually running in. Your partner is holding a small glowing rectangle with access to thousands of people. A single like, a laughing emoji, a photo with someone you've never met, a name in the notifications you don't recognize. To your rational modern brain, these are nothing. Genuinely nothing. But to your ancient threat detector, they can read as rivals, everywhere, all the time, an endless scrolling supply of them. Your jealousy system evolved to handle a handful of potential threats over an entire lifetime. It now runs in an environment that shows you 100 before breakfast. It's like installing a smoke detector and then moving it into a fireworks factory. Of course it won't shut up. That's why modern jealousy can feel so constant and so irrational. It's not that you're broken, it's that an ancient alarm is going off in a world it was never built to read. Now this is the part that matters most, so I'm going to be really clear about it. Explaining jealousy is not the same as excusing it, not even a little. Because the same emotion that pushed our ancestors to protect their bonds can, left unchecked, curdle into something genuinely destructive. Possessiveness, control, checking someone's phone, tracking where they go. And at its worst, jealousy is one of the most commonly cited causes of violence in relationships. So here's the line, and it's a bright one. Feeling jealousy is human. It's an old signal firing on its own, and you don't get a vote on whether it shows up. But what you do with it, that's entirely yours. The feeling is just information. It's saying, hey, something you value might be at risk. The mature move is to actually look at it. Is there a real threat here, or is this a 100,000-year-old alarm misfiring over an emoji? And then you talk, you trust, you communicate, you never control, never monitor, never harm. The emotion is ancient. What you do with it is a choice you make as a person. So what's jealousy really trying to tell you underneath all the noise? Strip away the panic, and it's usually carrying one honest little piece of information. You value something. This bond matters to you. You'd feel it if it were gone. Researchers point out that jealousy can actually be useful that way. It can flag a real problem, show you how much someone means to you, push you to invest in a relationship worth protecting. The signal was never the problem. The problem is reacting to it blindly, letting a 300,000-year-old alarm grab the wheel without you ever questioning it. And the most powerful thing you can do is the one thing no other animal can. Feel the ancient pull, and then pause. Recognize it for what it is, an old survival program, doing its job, in a world it doesn't understand. And then choose your response with the part of you those ancestors never got to fully use. The reflective, conscious, thinking part. The part that's actually you. So why do we get jealous? Because for hundreds of thousands of years, the humans who noticed threats to their most important bonds and moved to protect them survived and became our ancestors. That alarm is still in you, and it'll keep going off over texts and photos and names you don't know. Situations it was never designed for. It doesn't mean you're weak or broken or that something's wrong with you. It just means you're human, carrying an ancient inheritance that once kept families alive. The feeling is automatic, but you get to decide what kind of person you are when it shows up. And that part was never written into your genes. That part is all you. If you want to understand the bond that jealousy evolved to protect, how love itself switches on in the brain, the video on screen breaks it down. Go watch it. I'll see you there.